pretty good. Pretty good.
So as a learning artist, it might be a bit frustrating when you have an awesome idea for a drawing, but it doesn't quite come out the way you imagined. You might spend hours detailing a piece, but it still looks kind of weird because the proportions are off. But don't give up just yet. We have some amazing tips and tricks that will make just the difference.
Many artists make the mistake of eyeballing everything in their drawing, thinking that they can gauge proportion in this way. But the truth is, even professional artists use lots of reference. They have their own grid system, their own way of measuring to get their proportion right. By relying solely on intuition, you will leave way too much room for error.
So what can you do to tackle this? We have a few tips for you. First, always start by finding a reference of what you want to draw. This can be either a photograph or even a real-life object. By having a reference, you can always go back and cross-compare between your drawing and the original to adjust your proportions accordingly.
Our second tip is to break it down into basic shapes: circle, square, cylinders, and triangle. Instead of jumping straight into the details of your drawing, started by sketching out the basic shapes to build up your subjects. This will help you to get the proportion right before adding in too much of details.
Next is to use an imaginary ruler with your chosen unit of measurement. We can either use multiples of a chosen unit or divisions of a chosen unit. The units we need are 1, 2 times, and 3 times, as well as 1, 1/2, and 1/3. We'll keep it as simple as 1, 2, 3 to make it easier to remember.
For example, when we draw this rhino, we can use the height of the rhino as the unit 1, the length as 2 units. We will have 2 perfect squares for the rhino. And I cut the first square to 3 parts, each will be 1/3. 2/3 from the first box given to the head of the rhino, and the rest will be for the body.
As for smaller parts of the subject, we can use fractions of the original subject as a unit of measurement.
I will always create the new unit 1, either to multiply or divide, and using 1/3 or half, creating new landmarks.
Another useful technique to take note of is being aware of the negative space in your reference around the main subject itself, so you can kind of be less distracted by the details. You can do this, like we're doing here with the rhino, by shading in the shapes of the negative space, or simply by marking them around the subject. Ensures that everything is in the correct position and proportion.
You can combine this method to ensure that each shape is in the correct proportion in relation to the rest of the drawing. For example, we can draw a sphere as the head, draw a box as the body, cylinder as legs and arm, and make sure to use our unit measurement to cross-check our reference before we add in the details. I always remind myself mentally to add 3 more things in each area of my drawing when dealing with the details.
I've captured the wrinkles near the eye socket, near the mouth, then I moved to the large area. Looking at the reference, I created some texture using brush stroke and used those textures to overlay important focal area like ribcage, the tummy, the legs, and I create another texture used as transition from material to material. In this drawing, I want the head of the rhino to be the primary focal point, the body and the ribcage, the leg be the secondary or third. I like to look for high contrast area, deep skin flow, the structure line, texture, the form changing, contour. In each focal area, I will suggest information like sharpness, wrinkles, material, shadings, or anything from the fundamental checklist.
Then I will beef up the line weights to create better finishing, while we will discuss this on another video.
To summarize, here are some key techniques to improve your proportions in drawing. 1. Always use reference images. 2. Break down your subject into basic shapes. 3. Use unit of measurements either by multiplying or dividing the original subject. Lastly, try using the negative space around your subject to check your reference's proportion.
Don't get discouraged if your first few attempts don't turn out the way that you want. Keep refining your skills, and you will definitely see improvement over time.
But Kingston, what if I want to draw my rhino in a different angle or a different point of view? Because right now I feel like we're kind of just copying the reference.
That's a good question. There are always 2 kinds of mindset in practicing drawing. First is what we are doing right here. Focus on the accuracy capturing from reference. The second type is more about understanding the subject, the form, the structure. And we can draw this subject in 3D space and whatever angle that we want. We will explain the intention behind each mindset and when to use them in our next video, 2D versus 3D sketching. How about that?
Awesome, really looking forward to that video then. So thanks for joining us today, guys. Hope you found these tips helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more art-related content. And if you have any other questions or even any additional tips regarding proportion, please leave them down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy drawing!
Bye-bye.